Do tube amps have a place in the future of metal music? This is a question that's been on my mind recently as I contemplate selling my PV-XXX. The relatively old amp is heavy, large, and cumbersome, and it has way more power than I will conceivably ever need. And yet I hold on to it. It persists in the room like a silent reminder of wasted potential that it is. I keep telling myself I will record with it someday, but is that really true? Could the money be allocated elsewhere better? These questions race through my mind every time I stare at it. And so I turn the question to you. What do you think, dear viewers? Do you cling to the old power tube days of yesteryear, or do you embrace the digital simulation age we live in currently? Or do you have a hybrid system of simulation running through a tube preamp? As for what I prefer to use, I find myself using my Kemper power rack more than anything else. Before I had my Kemper, I used an Ampeg SVT4 Pro for my bass rig. It commits all the sins of a normal tube amp. Heavy beyond measure, slow to warm up, and much more power output than the local venue can handle. The funny thing about the SVT4 is that it's technically solid state, but it has a tube preamp within it, so it shares some of the characteristics of a pure tube amp. I have never gigged proper with a tube guitar amplifier before, but I have transported them many times, and the guitarist of my other band, Sigmatic, strictly uses tube heads, so I know how it feels to load and unload them in venues. I think even if I couldn't use simulators anymore, I would stick to a solid state head. The technology has come a long way, and the tone is just as good in my opinion. The ease of travel is worth the minor sound sacrifices you might hear anyway. The Kemper is just so easy to gig with. Throw it carelessly into the back of your gig van, and you have a whole world of tone ready for you. There's not even a cabinet requirement if the venue's PA is good enough, though of course I prefer to have one when it is convenient. We've reached a point now where even the legends of metal are switching to simulation technology. Even they don't seem to care about any perceived differences. The fact of the matter is that people on a mass level will follow the path of least resistance when it comes to creative gear. It's why people use auto-tune instead of waiting for the perfect vocal take, and it's why people use amp simulation instead of cumbersome tube amps. If you're using a tube amp, of course there's no problem with that. It's okay to be proud of the gear you own and use. It's okay to talk about how great your $3,000 Hughes and Kettner is. My real issue comes from when musicians start putting other musicians down for the gear that they use. You need to make peace with the fact that playing a tube amp live is for you and no one else. I promise you the crowd can't tell the difference. There are simply too many other variables at play in a live setting. I myself love the aesthetic of a tube amp. I love the creative faceplates and the knob layouts, but to be brutally honest with you, I can't tell the difference between any high-gain amp when sat on the same cabinet. To me, the cabinet will always make much more of a difference than the tubes that are in your head. Even despite all of these opinions, I think tube amps will absolutely have a place in the metal community looking well into the future. I predict a slow decline in relevancy, relegating these types of units to the occasional exotic player who holds on to old beliefs and superstitions of a bygone era. There is a beauty in that, to think this 1950s technology will persevere. And if I myself had a whole road crew and tech team, I myself might play a tube head just for the fun of it. But I'm not lifting these things more than I have to. Time and space are precious commodities to a musician on the stage, and tube amps take up both more than I want them to. Do you agree or disagree? What kind of rig do you run and why? Tell me all about it. Thanks for watching the video, and subscribe for more.